Hey Pinheads, do you ever wonder what would happen if horror villains faced off? Well, so do we. So what we've done is we've taken 22 of the most badass horror villains and put them at random on a bracket. We will have these villains face off one battle at a time until we reach the ultimate number one villain who would win it all. If you haven't done this yet, please subscribe. If you like what you're seeing, please like. Also, please comment. We always enjoy seeing what you have to say. Thank you very much. Do that shit. Hey, Pinheads, welcome back to Psychopinion. Nope. I gotta start over. He fucked me up.
I didn't realize you were pinheading it.
Welcome back, Pinheads. We are continuing our horror villain bracket. If you watched the first one, you saw Samara Morgan beat Jason Voorhees in a very interesting upset. And we are moving on to battle number two. Battle number two, what we are going to call battle number two here is going to be Freddy Krueger versus Chucky, moving down the bracket from top to bottom. And this is kind of an interesting one as well. I'll kind of start that off before I go ahead and ask these guys' opinions of this, and hopefully you guys are kind of getting the gist of what's happening by this point. It always takes one or two of these brackets to kind of, really figure out where we're going, what this is based on, and everything else.
If you're like me, you're probably wondering, how do these guys know who would actually win these battles? Well, I'm going to go ahead and give you a little bit of insight to that. I had a bunch of horror fans fill out surveys based on such attributes like likability, kill, style, creativity, danger level, uniqueness, how iconic they are, their backstory, appearance, and their movie or franchise likability. Besides these scores, I've also taken the scores from the IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, as well as other websites that rate movies, and taken all the scores from their films or franchises, along with the survey numbers, and did all the math stuff, which was a lot of math stuff. Then I came up with a score. That score is what these villains have going up against each other. But it's still fun to discuss and fantasize and think about who we feel would win in each of these battles. So please go ahead and comment your thoughts on that, and I would love to discuss or debate that some more. It's really just a fun thing to do for us horror fans. Thank you for watching.
So, in this one, we've got Freddy Krueger and Chucky, both very classic 80s horror characters. So, what we're looking at is we're looking at Chucky, who has genius level intelligence, mastery of manipulation, intimidation, enhanced stealth, high speed, high stamina, knifemanship, marksmanship, weapon and provision. Basic, Chucky, as we all know, because we're a bunch of horror fans that are on this show and watch this show, Chucky is a possessed doll, and he's possessed by a serial killer, Brad Dourif, actually, who is one of my favorite horror actors. So, Freddy, on the other hand, since I said that, might as well say this is played by Robert Englund, which you all know that. And his skills and abilities are to manipulate and control the dream world, using it as a hunting ground to torment and kill his victims. He can shapeshift, teleport, and exploit his victims' fears and weakness. In the dream realm, he's essentially immortal and can regenerate lost body parts. However, when pulled into the real world, he becomes more vulnerable and can be harmed or killed. So, right off the bat, I think the most important thing and the elephant in the room on this battle, if we're going to talk about who would actually win in a movie, Chucky versus Freddy, is does Chucky sleep? I've never seen him sleep.
Because I guess he's a doll and he doesn't physically need to, but...
So, the only way I think that this battle is going to happen, essentially, is if Freddy comes out of the dream world somehow. So let's talk about like Freddy just as he is. I mean, in that point, he kind of loses a lot of his powers, but he's still pretty badass and has the blades.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go right off the bat here and say that even him in the physical world without as many of his powers, I think he's gonna take Chucky down pretty easily.
Yeah, I agree.
I do too. Yeah, I remember first watching both the Chucky franchise and Freddy Krueger, and I don't know what, maybe not females, but I don't know what boy growing want to have one of those gloves. That was like the coolest thing around Halloween. Like whether you're trying to make one yourself or buy one back in the day in the 80s and stuff, I mean, that was expensive to get those sorts of things. But I always, when I watched Chucky, I was like, man, I just kick that stinking doll right out the window. Like, just make sure it doesn't slice your Achilles under the bed, those sorts of things. And I was not too afraid of Chucky, and I think that Freddy would tear him up even in the non-dream world, the reality. So
Yeah, Freddy's pretty badass. I don't know anybody. I know a lot of people in the '90s had the My Buddy doll, which I think is kind of what the Good Guy doll was based off of. I had a My Buddy doll when I was a really little kid. And I remember he was kind of similar to the Good Guy doll. I always felt the same way. I always was kind of like, how is this doll, whether he's possessed by a serial killer or not, like he seems really overly capable for a doll, as far as some of his kills and things go. I mean, dolls don't weigh very much, and you got to think even with him being possessed, I mean, he's still going to weigh like a doll. The doll jumps on your face. It's like some of the movies that people are like, oh, and he's like stabbing them and stuff. And I'm kind of like, I feel like I could just be like, sort of like when you put your, in the cartoons when they put their hand on the little guy's head and he's like, oh, I feel like it'd be like that kind of situation.
Yeah, and I think Chucky has a lot of advantage because he kind of like surprises people.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of aren't expecting it. So I think that is more of his advantage. So I think if Freddy was like expecting it, yeah, I definitely think he could take him.
I think even if Freddy wasn't expecting it, I think he could take him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like this one is kind of a little unevenly matched to me, at least, in the fact that I just feel like straight up Freddy's just going to dominate him in any type of battle.
Yeah.
So I guess in this situation,
Three Freddys.
I was going to say in this situation, I don't think I really need to go around and ask. I think we are all Team Krueger here. Does it change your mind at all when we talk about the fact that it's also based on the popularity of the movies, or that it's based on, kind of people's liking of these characters? Does that change your mind at all?
I think people like Freddy Krueger a little better, even though he is creepy and his backstory is awful. But
yeah. I'm not really a fan of Freddy Krueger. I've said that on the show before, and you guys know that. But honestly, when it comes down to Freddy or Chucky, I'm probably more of a Freddy Krueger fan than I am a Chucky fan, quite honestly.
Yeah.
So I don't think it changes anything for me. But
I'm not too big on either of them. But I think Freddy's a little more iconic than Chucky.
Yeah.
All right. With that being said, let's go into the tallying of the votes here.
Please wait while we calculate the results.
Fight! Apocalypse! Killing frenzy! I demand a sacrifice. Finish him! Game over.
Let's get high. And the winner is...
Freddy Krueger. He took this one by over an entire point, so...
Oh, wow.
He did pretty good against the Chuckster there.
Hey, Pinheads, if you're listening to this, you've been watching our 22 bracket horror villain face-off. I would encourage you to continue to watch, because we've got a lot more coming. We will find out who the ultimate horror villain is. Please subscribe if you haven't. Please like if you like what you're seeing. And please comment. We would love to know who you think would win in these battles. Also, make sure that you keep an eye out in the future, because we will be doing more of these brackets, and I would love to get your opinion. We will be putting surveys out there, and you can be a part of this. And your score can matter as well. Thank you for watching. See you soon.